Hey there, Return of the Tripod fans. All right, it's been a while since I've made a video, but there is some very interesting stuff afoot over with Abby Normal. It looks like we've got hints of new weird weapons coming to our beloved miniatures game. I say there's rumors are swirling. Not really. We're just all having fun, speculating. There's been a teaser posted. Let's talk real briefly about kind of what we know has been hinted at and talked about and is coming for Return of the Tripods, just as a backdrop. So we know our special characters like Any Day, Week Now, those are coming, filling out those expected characters from our rulebook, which is awesome. I know everybody is super excited for that one. Other kind of interesting, maybe you forgot about this if you're keeping touch of what's going on. The civilian tokens, both fleeing and I guess armed, for kind of the guerrilla fighters that one of the special characters has. Both of those are being worked on. When I don't really know, but I know they're out there being worked on, and more is what I'll say. And then there are kind of these three big things. I said U.S. Army here. I really mean U.S. forces. The U.S. forces, aircraft, specifically probably a Martian flyer and bigger aircraft rules. And then we know Martian factions is being worked on. So all of those three things make up the bigger efforts. If I was to bet, I would say Martian factions will come first as kind of like a rules supplement on top of our rule book. Maybe there'll be a character Martian aircraft released just to have some dogfights with the special character biplane for the humans that we have. And then, yeah, that good old the U.S. forces being worked on. You got to know that there are actually a lot of ex-service personnel associated with Abby Normal and working on the game. So there's probably a lot of love and care going into the U.S. forces specifically, um, because they're biased. No, because they care about it. So that read that as more time. So there's going to be some more time sunk into there. I know we're all excited for new armies to show up, and I think that will be the first new additional army that shows up past the Germans and the Martians that we've got. So yeah, let's get on to this new teaser that dropped and what set off me making this video. So Brandon drops this picture of a telecommunications, kind of an intercept. Let's read it real quick. One of Tesla's devices, a great success. Stop. Finally have what we've been after. Stop. We'll rendezvous with the USS Parker in 2 days. Stop. Expect we will raise Newport News in 9 days. Stop. Aberdeen is best for sight. Stop. Alternate is Wardenclyffe. Stop. Third option is Waterville or Springfield. Stop. And 2 nearby resources are critical: electricity and cattle. End. Destroy after reading. So fascinating things to pull out of there. Let's do a little analysis and speculations, put this together. So I'm sure a lot of people know way more about Tesla than I do, but helped create alternating current, is kind of this genius savant of physics, electricity, electromagnetism, had a lot of inventions going on. And if he has had a great success, breakthrough, and it's what we want, communication from U.S. forces, it sounds like weapon to me. So this weapon's being transported on the USS Parker, which is a new class of destroyer. She's DD-48, and let's just geek out for a second, because I like Navy stuff. So she's a 4-stack. She's really fast. In fact, the class she is, this Amelin class, was really trying to super evolve the destroyer class. It made a small leap. The first, the Amelin, they found it didn't quite achieve the speeds they wanted. They redesigned the prop a little bit, slapped it onto Parker, and Parker, she goes zoom, is how I'd put it. She's equipped with these naval guns at the time that are very typical of flush deck destroyers. I believe Wikipedia says she's got 4 of them. I only see mounts for 3, 1 starboard, one port and one on the bow, but there might be a fourth one snuck in there. Or I think sometimes they mounted a dual on the front is how it went. Kind of funny, right before the bow gun, you can see what appears to be a telescope there. Maybe they're doing some gun drills and sighting some things in, but that's, I mean, you know, technology of the time, right? And you know, optics glass is still used on warships today, so there you go. Also of interest, she's got torpedoes, quite a lot of them. In fact, this class, they really wanted to add more torpedoes. So each one of those torpedo launchers there is a twin. It'll shoot out two, and there are two on each side. So yes, that's 8 torpedo tubes. And the thinking is, after I shoot some stuff, I still want to have some fish to throw in the water, so to speak. Some other interesting things in this photo, you see these white square cloth canvas being draped behind the bridge and then there at the stern. That's just to provide shade. And actually there's some around on the bow too, around the gun. You know, it's like, it's the easy ups of the day. They just slap some easy ups up there. I think they're having a little Steel Beach picnic or, you know, whatever. It's clear they know they're being photographed too. Very cool. Yeah, you can read all about the USS Parker and these class of ships. Just a quick aside there. So it's basically a fast modern ship that is transporting our Tesla Discovery. Weapon. Yeah, let's go on. So the Aberdeen, which is Aberdeen Proving Grounds right here in Maryland, that's where they're saying is the primary site that they want to go to, and maybe to get a cup of Tim Hortons there on the map. Well, this was actually, I think the base was commissioned and brought to service in 1917. Specifically, I think it's a lot, it's, you know, World War I. So a lot of artillery stuff. I'm not sure, I'd have to read more, maybe some tank development happens here. But if you got a secret weapon and you're looking for a secure location and you want to know how much punch your weapon's got, this is the place you do it at. The other places mentioned, Wardenclyffe is Tesla's tower, an ordnance facility, and then Springfield Armory, of course. So just 3 other secure locations where they could test it. And then the fun stuff, we're mentioning electricity and cattle. And when I first heard cattle, I was joking with Brandon on the Discord. I'm like, what? So they want like a giant barbecue? I was like, oh, they're after food for troops. And no. See, cattle is the raw input to the food and rations, right? So if you want the raw stuff, I think that means you want a target and you want to know the efficacy of your weapon. So, yep, poor cows are about to get zapped. And speaking of zapped, yes, the U.S. Army or forces, I believe what they've got is Teleforce, which was, it was actually in the 30s, mostly documented. Tesla saying he had this invention. It never really came to fruition, but the idea was you create a sealed vacuum tube, and it's open to the atmosphere, yet sealed. And it's open to the atmosphere by a fast current of air over essentially the muzzle opening of your tube. And then you use electromagnetism to propel small slugs out of your vacuum tube, essentially a railgun. So while this coin says direct energy weapon here, not really quite. I guess, I mean, if a gun is a direct energy weapon, I don't know. You're throwing rocks really, really fast. I put it next to our beloved FT-17 heat ray, which the Germans are packing. So kind of cool. It kind of gives us the ability to not only have captured Martian tech, but some new weird war funness for our human forces, right? And yeah, this is exciting. And specifically, it's exciting too because I think this kind of tips the hand that says our U.S. forces are really underway. And I've been kibitzing a little bit on the Discord, and it really does sound like it'll be interesting to see how it transpires. I'm sure the U.S. Army itself, that the big bulk of it has to be a larger release, but it seems like we've got these smaller little morsels and releases and tidbits out there. So, whether this is just clever good marketing by Abby Normal, like, hey, check this out, look, right? Saying U.S. forces are getting ready, or whether it actually is a small new miniature that gets released on its own, I don't know. But it's all exciting and good. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll catch you later. All right, bye-bye.